Developing a support system, a network of friends, a group of people that you can count on when you need them is very important. A group of friends, family, professionals who can help. And I call this weaving your parachute, or being proactive. Getting that group of people in line before an injury happens or before an event occurs is crucial. Because no one plans for an illness. I'm going to say that without exception, the 20,000 homes that I was in, not one of them, I say women because they're mostly women, but not one of the persons said to me, I had this event planned. I had the ambulance waiting outside for me. I had food in the freezer because I knew I'd be home sick and not be able to cook. I had all my friends with their duties lined up in a row. I had the finances set aside to pay for my copay for all of this. And I had it all planned. I never heard anybody ever say that. These events are unplanned. So you weave your parachute, you are proactive, and you plan ahead for these things. And part of that is having a good support system, or a network of friends and people, family, that you know you can count on. One of the layers of that support group is going to be a professional layer, and that is your doctor, your lawyer, your accountant, and your favorite handyman, he's going to get up on the step stool and the ladder and get the things for you that you can no longer get. That handyman becomes very important as you age. You need to have a good relationship with your doctor so that when these events occur, you know you can count on him. Doctors are very busy, so if you have a good relationship with his nurse or with somebody in his office, that could be very helpful. And the next layer would be a group of friends, family, who it doesn't necessarily have to be anything that you have officially, but in your mind you kind of have some things worked out. I know if I ever got an injury, I wouldn't expect my adult sons to help me wash my hair, but I would expect them to get up on a ladder and help me. So being that person for somebody else and having that network that you know you can count on is another way for you to age successfully. And I tell you my last story. This is a heartwarming story that has to do with building a network. There was a couple from our church, and they were in their, I'm going to say, early 60s. They were both on their second marriages, and neither one of their first marriages were very, very good. So they were so happy to find each other. And they were very truly, truly in love. And they decided, when we retire, we're going to sell everything. And, when they retired, they sold everything, and they bought one of those big motorhomes. And it was their idea to spend the next 4 or 5 years traveling the country, and maybe having a base here in Southern California, but for most being on the road. They would come back periodically to go to church, and then they'd be off again. That was their plan. So about 6 months in, they'd sold everything, bought the motorhome, and then that little park in Laverne, that's where they set up. And about 6 months in, Sharon was diagnosed with breast cancer. So they started her breast cancer treatment, and they continued to live in the motorhome. It was a very treatable form of breast cancer. Sharon is still, to this day, 10 years later, she's still with us, very active in our church. But Dave was not so lucky. About maybe 6 to 9 months into her treatment, where she was done with all her surgery and her chemo and her radiation, her husband was diagnosed with a very aggressive form of lung cancer. He was not so lucky as her. So they spent the next 18 months together, doing things that they could do. They went to Hawaii a couple times, and they traveled around a little bit as much as they could. But the one thing Dave said to Sharon is, I'm not going to be with you. And I hope I don't cry. Because I remember this happening, and I want you to have a support system after I die, because I won't be here for you. So they sold the motorhome, and they moved into a senior community. And they made friends with everybody in that community, in that senior living. They're very gregarious, fun-loving people. So So it was easy for them to do. But when Dave died, she did. She had a strong network of people. She had her church family. She had people in her apartment complex. She had her family. She had a loving support system that she had prepared for around her to be with her and guide her. And I think that's a wonderful example of how important that is.